Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to this very, very special holiday edition. Today, I wanted to come on and share with you some things that I have been discussing with my clients quite extensively leading up to this festive period. And it's really about taking the opportunity to use your understanding of your own human design in a real life human design experiment during the festive period. So, for many of us, whatever we're celebrating at this time of year, it often means that we are coming together in groups of people, maybe family or in laws or second, third, fourth, fifth cousins, communities with people that we might not necessarily hang out with. And sometimes that can be a bit of a challenge because you're kind of thrown together in this experience, and it might feel like the next few days are obviously excitement and looking forward to the festivities, but maybe you're feeling a little bit of dread as you were coming into this festive period, because you're like, well, I don't want to hang out with her, I don't want to hang out with him. And it can kind of bring up lots of different feelings like that. So I wanted to come on this special one because I don't normally do a live on a Tuesday, but I couldn't go live last week because I was ill and I still don't feel 100%. So if I am coughing and spluttering through this, then please bear with me. But I wanted to come on and share some of the things that I found to be really, really important to be able to build resilience and empathy and fun during this period. So, wherever you're joining me from, I doubt if anyone is joining me on LinkedIn. In fact, I don't even know if we're live streaming to LinkedIn, to be honest with you. We're supposed to be, but I think there's been a bit of a glitch. But if you're on LinkedIn, I am trying to kind of bring up your comments. But I can't see your comments when I'm live streaming. But definitely for those of you who are on Facebook and those of you on YouTube, welcome. If you are joining me live, then please put in the comments where you're joining me from, what your human design is. It's always really important. And also, where are you? Are you traveling somewhere? Are you staying at home? Like, what are you doing over the next few days? So, as I was saying before, it can sometimes feel a bit of a difficult time at Christmas. You're around people that you might not necessarily choose to hang out with, or even if you're not celebrating Christmas, this time of year kind of brings families, groups of people together. I mean, obviously, I've got a Christmas jumper on and some reindeer antlers. So obviously I am with the Christmas vibe, but for me, Christmas is just a bit of a strange time of year. I wasn't brought up to celebrate Christmas, and even though I left home when I was 16 and started to celebrate Christmas, I don't have those childhood memories of Christmas. So even though I look forward to it in a way of the fact that, have a few days off, eat some nice food, hang out with my partner Kev and our dog, and maybe go and visit friends and family if we wanted to, it kind of I feel a little bit displaced around Christmas because I don't have those happy childhood memories of Christmas. And I'd love to know actually in the comments if there is anyone like me out there. I'm sure that there's lots of us. But certainly the conversations that I've been having with a lot of my clients have been around I'm going to be put into a situation with people that I wouldn't necessarily want to choose to hang around with, and how can I brace myself? How can I guard myself around it? And I will say to you, like I've said to them, that this is a really great opportunity to be fully embraced in your human design experiment. Human design is a huge experiment. You might kind of learn about yourself, understand what type you are within human design, what your inner authority is, what your self is, what your not self theme is. You might learn about your environments and your centers, and that knowledge is power. But actually the learning is going out in life and experimenting with it. And it's all very well experimenting in your bubble. I mean, it's all very well, you know, me, for example, experimenting in my bubble where I'm in the house that I choose to live in, I'm with the partner that I choose to live with, I'm in the town that I choose to be in. But when the experimentation becomes really interesting, when you can learn the lessons and evolve and step into that higher consciousness with human design, is when you can experiment with human design outside of your comfort zone, in situations that you wouldn't necessarily be in day to day, or in periods of growth like in your business. And look, this is applicable to Christmas or whatever you're celebrating at this time of year. But this is actually applicable to any time in your life where you are being put out of your comfort zone, when you're out of your day-to-day habits, where you're going into organizations, communities of people, and you need to protect your energy. So this can happen at any time of year. It just so happens that we're coming up to the holiday season, and this is the subject that my clients are talking about. But this is also applicable to your life in general, when you're out and about, if you're traveling, if you're in that period of growth within your business where you're being stretched and you're outside of your comfort zone. And the thing is especially when you are going back and staying with and being in company with family members. Here's the thing with family members. They see you as a certain way. They see you in a certain way. You are a certain type of person to them. You're this, and this. Okay? They defined your roles when you were little, and you are exactly in that role. So even if you're going back into your family as a 50-year-old woman, perfectly accomplished with your own business and clients and responsibility and earning money and creating success, they will still put you into that box and see you as the child that you were, because they formed that opinion of you when you were very young. And that's the thing with families. So what happens is you can go back into this family environment and they will react to you like you're the little girl, and you have a choice. You can either decide to react back to them as that little girl, or you can reply back to them as a grown-ass woman who's got responsibilities and who has got wise head on her shoulders and is empowered. You can reply back to them in that way and refuse to be put into that box. But I know how easy it is to revert back to type. The conditioning runs deep. We've been conditioned to be a certain way, to act a certain way in order to be liked, in order to fit into society, and therefore to fit into the family dynamics. And sometimes it might be easier just to slot into that role that you've always had. So maybe it's the role of someone that's at the butt of the family jokes, or maybe it's the role of someone that always makes the tea, always is helping people and running around and putting others before yourself. Or maybe you're the caretaker or the caregiver, or maybe you're the joker of the family. It's easier sometimes to revert to type instead of actually standing your ground and saying to yourself, actually, that might have been someone that I was, but I don't want to be that way anymore. I don't want to behave like that anymore. And sometimes that can cause situations in families that might not necessarily see you like that anymore. And it's, you know, I've recorded videos before about the crab pot. Has anyone heard of the crab pot? Put a comment if you've heard of this theory. I'd love to know. So the crab pot theory is when I was little, my parents used to take me crabbing. So there's a beautiful part in the south of England called Cornwall, and we used to go and I used to have my little fishing net, and I'd go and catch a crab and put it in my bucket, and then before you knew it, there were a few crabs in the bucket, and they would always get thrown back. We'd never kill them or anything like that. And what used to happen is that a crab, very often, if you've got crabs in a crab pot, and this is not just my experience, this is like a scientific experiment that happened once, there will often be a crab or a crab that starts to escape from the crab pot, from the pot. And then what happens is that the other crabs, instead of trying to help it out, there you go, freedom. The other crabs reach up and pull that crab back into the crab pot. So basically what they're saying is, don't escape, come back, come back. And they're literally physically stopping the crab from escaping the crab pot, from escaping the bucket. Now think about that in terms of your family or your friends or people that you've known for a long time. What they're trying to do is they're trying to pull you back into the crab pot. No, don't grow. Don't have different ideas to us. Don't be more successful than us. Don't earn more money than us. Because that's going to make us look bad. That's going to make me feel bad. If you're more successful than I am, if you're pushing yourself out your comfort zone, if you're playing big, it's going to make me feel bad. Stay here, stay small with me. And that kind of mentality and that kind of approach can often show up at family events, like if you're all gathering around for Christmas. So the conditioning does run deep. Excuse me. And what I would say to you is, as I said to you before, it's your decision how you're going to react to that. Are you going to allow others to bring you into this crab pot and keep you there? Or are you going to set your boundaries? Are you going to stay strong? Are you going to take a stand for yourself? And look, this isn't me passing judgment on you or saying what you should or shouldn't do. This is your decision. This is how you want to respect yourself and value yourself when you are in situations like this. Hey, Charlie. Charlie, I'm going to put your comment. Look what I can do here. This is so wonderful. Right, so Charlie says, I'm glad that you enjoy the crab pot analogy, and thank you so much for joining me. Happy Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve. Okay, so there are a few things that I wanted to share with you where you can use your human design experiment to not be in that crab pot, to not revert to your conditioning, to keep your grace, to keep your joy, to not feel frustrated if you're a generator, manifesting generator, to not feel bitter if you're a projector, to not feel disappointed if you're a reflector, and not to feel angry if you're a manifester. And of course, regardless of what human design type you are, of course you can feel all of those feelings, but obviously I'm applying it to human design and our lower vibrational frequency as opposed to our higher vibrational frequency. So what I wish for you over this festive period, that if you're a projector, you feel successful. If you're a generator, a manifesting generator, you feel satisfied. If you're a reflector, you feel surprised and delighted. And of course, if you were a manifester, then you feel peaceful. Isn't that a wonderful word for this time of year? Peace to all. And certainly, if manifestors are peaceful, then there will be peace for all. So this is the first thing that I've been sharing with my clients over the last couple of weeks. Your type. Always remember your type. Remember what you've learnt about your type, how wonderful you are, how your energy reacts, and what your strategy is. So, as I'm sure you know, if you're a generator, a manifesting generator, it's about waiting to respond. If you're a manifester, it's about informing. If you're a projector, it's about being invited in. If you're a reflector, well, I mean, if you're at a family gathering for a day or a couple of days, then obviously that is not a moon cycle. But Actually, it's about thinking about your environment. And this is really important for you, actually, reflectors, about the environment that you're in. Are you environments that sustain you, that you feel inspired by? And it might be that if you're a reflector, then to really, make some decisions about, where am I going to go? What is the environment going to be like? And more importantly, how long am I going to stay there? Okay. So I think that's applicable to everyone, right? How long am I going to stay there? And what's the cutoff period that I'm going to be leaving by? So I wish that all of you to be in your higher vibrational energy and status throughout this holiday season. But remember your type and the value that you bring to your family, to your community, to the environment that you're in. Because when you can value yourself, and this is a phrase that I use all of the time, you'll have heard me say this phrase time and time again, when you value yourself, the whole world values you. So if you can value yourself, if you can set those personal boundaries, if you can leave when you want to leave instead of being a people pleaser and hanging around until the very end because, God forbid, what anybody would think about you if you decided to leave early. When you can value yourself, that will go a very, very long way. The other thing to be aware of and to think about at this moment in time as you're preparing yourself to maybe be in these gatherings is your inner authority. What is your inner authority? How can you use the information that you have within your inner authority or with your inner authority to be able to make informed decisions? And also how you react to things. So for example, for myself, as an emotional inner authority, my awareness is around the fact that I could potentially have a tendency to emotionally respond to something. So if I'm in an environment that I don't feel comfortable in, or if, for example, I'm using myself as a scenario, this isn't going to happen because I'm not around family during Christmas. But if I was around my family during Christmas, I'm the youngest one in the family. So say, for example, I went back to a family gathering and I was still being treated as the little girl. There, tap on the head. How am I going to react to that? How am I going to be able to use my emotional authority to make decisions around how I'm going to respond to that? Am I going to react like a knee-jerk emotional reaction, or am I going to get myself to a place of very little nervousness within my body and be emotionally regulated until I decide that I want to say something or I want to take my stand? Charlie, I know that you're watching and you're splenic. So of course you'll know this because you're also an incredible human design expert, but your splenic hit, the splenic hit to be like, nah, it's time to leave. Or no, I don't want to engage with this person. Or no, even it might be no, I don't want to go. And this is another thing as well, really to give yourself grace around that. Don't feel that you need to show up all the time. If you need to rest, or if there are certain things within your human design where you get people fatigue. So projectors, for sure, would be my number one call for that. That you don't, this sensitivity around people and the energy of people, sometimes it can be too much. Maybe you need to make a call yourself to say, you know what, I'm going to put myself first, and I'm not going to put myself in that situation to begin with. Or maybe you're a line 2 and you're feeling into that hermit part of the day or part of the week where you're like, you know what, I just want to be in my hermit. Honoring that, giving yourself grace around that. Or maybe you have a line 4 like me, where, you know, it's waves on the shore, and sometimes it's like really amazing to be around other people and in a community, but then you get that people fatigue and the wave goes back. You don't want to be on the shore anymore. You want to be like out in the sea, like whew, away from everyone on the beach. Honoring that is really important. Self-care is so important over this holiday season. So your inner authority, so your type, valuing yourself, understanding how amazing you are, how special you are, regardless of what everyone else thinks about you, maybe in your family, knowing that about yourself, and also valuing your inner authority. And then the third thing that comes to mind with all of this is your center, the awareness around your centers. We have 9 centers within human design, and they're either defined or they're open or undefined. And remember, if you have defined centers, it's like you're going in to, it's like you're a radio transmitter. So when you go into the room, the energy that you carry within your centers, that's the energy that people will be receiving in and then amplifying it. And then if your centers are undefined or open, then you're a radio receiver. So when you go into the room, you'll be receiving the energy. So actually feel into the different centers within your body. Maybe there is a feeling, maybe there is an experience that doesn't belong to you. Maybe you're feeling that because you're projecting, you're amplifying someone else's senses in the room. And maybe all it takes is for you to walk outside, get some fresh air. You know, sometimes I think, oh, it's so much simpler in the days where everyone smoked. I look back on my life and I'm like, you know what? I used to smoke. So I stopped smoking about 11 years ago. And but sometimes I look back and I'll be like, you know what? Life was so much simpler when I smoked. It wasn't healthier, but it was like, oh, I'm just going to go outside and have a cigarette, right? I can just get away from everyone. So I'm not condoning that, but like use that opportunity. So instead of going out for a cigarette, you're going out for some fresh air, right? Go and have some fresh air and exit the room. Go to the loo, go to the spare bedroom, go for a little rest, lie on the coats, go for a rest, right? Take that time out. Don't be afraid to take that time out for yourself. And remember about you being a radio receiver in certain channels and a radio transmitter in others. So also be aware of your own energy. You know, so if you are emotional inner authority and your solar plexus is defined, it's being aware of your emotions can then define that room and amplify that room, and it's taking responsibility for that as well. So actually if you're not happy and then you're going into a situation and then it's being reflected to you more things that are making you unhappy and it's electrically charged, well, it's also about taking radical responsibility that you're probably the cause of that, right? It's not your fault, but what you're doing is you're taking that energy into the room, and then people are amplifying it back at you. So it's a two-way thing. So it's not about going into these situations where it's like, oh, these things are going to be happening to me, and no, you have got complete autonomy and responsibility and control, really, in a way, over these situations. And you can decide. So you can decide to go to these social situations and it to be a great experience, or you can decide not to be a great experience. And that's another great way to experiment, because not only are you experimenting with your human design, you're also experimenting with law of attraction. Because it's like, see this at, if it's something that you're dreading, if it's a social situation or a family gathering that you are dreading, see it as an opportunity to go and experiment and have fun with it. How can I make this like something really joyful? How can I make it something really special? How can I make it a great experience? And deciding yourself that it is going to be a great experience, and then using that as an opportunity to change a problem. I use this word a lot, to alchemize something that might be really challenging and really triggering it, and turning it into an opportunity for yourself, for your own personal development, for your own growth. Charlie's, I'm just gonna put your thing on screen. Always, so Charlie, we were talking about your splenic hit. Always a sudden need to leave for me with splenic authority. So my family now know that I am having introvert time. Yes. And Charlie, that is honestly, it's such a good point there. So here's another thing, a final thing that I just wanted to leave you with this. And this is something that I really love about human design. Human design gives us language. It gives us language. So Charlie's just said her family then know, oh, I need to go and have introvert time. So you can use this to communicate. You can give your family heads up. You know, if ever I'm going somewhere out with Kev for the day or something like that, my partner Kev, I will always give him well, he knows now anyway. He knows that I need to go and have some time on my own. So whether it's like he goes off somewhere and I have a little nap in the car, or maybe if we're going to someone's house, I'll go for a little nap in the spare bedroom, or just not even asleep, just me to be on my own. I can communicate that to people, and I can say to people, look, if you accept, well, it's not even if you accept or not, because I'm going to do it anyway, but but just to let you know that I need to go and have some time by myself, and I'll come back and I'll be like fully on. But if I am here and I don't have any rest, or I don't have any alone time, then I'm going to get people fatigue, and it's not going to be a very nice experience for me, and I'm going to be tired, and I need to go and get some rest, and I need some time out. And you know, I think when you can kind of just manage people's expectations and give them heads up about it, people get it. You know, we're all human, and maybe you're then giving permission for someone else to be able to do that as well. And like I said to you before, this is not just about the festive period. This is about any situation at all. So that's what I'll do. If I'm on a retreat, for example, I will give everyone heads up on a retreat. I'll be like, just to let you know. I mean, normally I'm either co-hosting or hosting the retreat, so people will know about human design anyway, but if they don't, it's just to give people's heads up. So here's wishing you a very merry and happy festive season, whatever you are doing. Of course, you can decide like me and Kev that we're not going to be around family at all, and we're going to go out for dinner. We're going to go out for a nice lunch and have a nice 5-course meal and be cooked for, and then come back and take the dog for a walk. That's going to be our Christmas day. But whatever you are doing, whatever you are celebrating, just wishing you lots and lots of love. No more lives now until January, and then I'm going to be reverting back to the usual Thursday. Thank you so much for joining me. Any questions, answer them below. If you want to find out more about your human design, you can visit my website, abigailrebecca.com. And if you don't know about human design at all, then you can go and look up your human design chart on my website, abigailrebecca.com. Wishing you a wonderful, wonderful Christmas. Merry Christmas, Charlie. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you soon. Take care, everyone. Bye.